I will start immediately presentation. A solid waste disposal chapter. In that we are going to study the chapter about solid waste management, then its sources, then functional outlines, storage, collection, and its processing. Okay. Okay, treatments of solid waste. So first part we have finished in the yesterday's lecture. Now we are going to study about the second part. Okay. This is solid waste definition. Discarded or abandoned material. Okay. So we have discussed definition also. There are different types of definitions. Okay, whatever the useless or unwanted material in solid form will be considered as a solid waste. Okay, then typical municipal solid waste generation rate we have discussed, and in that I told you India as a developing country ranging between 0.3 to 0.6 kg per capita per day solid waste generation rate. Okay, and then after we have seen the different types of classification of solid waste. In that solid waste basically classified into homogeneous or heterogeneous. Homogeneous in the sense uniform, same type of solid waste, likewise from the specific industry or specific area of agriculture. Then heterogeneous characteristics, under that there will be a varieties of solid waste. Okay. Then source based classification. Under source based classification we discussed domestic waste, commercial waste, institutional waste, municipal waste, industrial waste, agricultural waste. Further, we have discussed the various types of solid waste and type-based classification. In that garbage, which is putrescible type of organic waste material includes, then ashes or the residues, then rubbish, except from ashes and garbage, whatever part is there from the municipal corporation will be included under the rubbish. Then the street sweeping, then hazardous waste, sewage waste, dead animals, construction and demolition waste, and bulky waste. So these are the various types of solid waste we have discussed in detail in the last lecture. Then further classification is based on the decomposability. Based on decomposability, it is going to be classified into two types. One is the non-decomposable and another is the decomposable one. If it is a non-decomposable, we can send it to the same industry as a raw material, or we can reuse it. Okay. And if it is decomposable one, then we can use it for the energy generation, likewise by using the biogas. Then based on combustibility, also it is classified into combustible waste and non-combustible waste. Combustible waste producing the energy, and non-combustible waste is not producing the energy. But likewise, the non-decomposable material, we can send the non-combustible material also for the same industry as a raw material, or we can reuse it, recycle it. Okay. Then this we have discussed. Then we have discussed the various characteristics of solid waste: physical, chemical, compositional, density, under physical composition, density, moisture content, Then chemical properties we have discussed in that: proximate analysis, ultimate analysis, flushing point of fusing point of the ash, energy content or its a heating value, its a leaching properties. All these characteristics we have discussed. And the last point we discussed, that was the functional outline, means how it can be collected from source and how it up to the disposal spot. Okay, so for the various, why we need to go for segregation? Because after segregation only we can go for the proper dissemination of that waste. If it is recyclable waste, then what combustible or non-combustible again needs to be classified, and accordingly we can send it. That's why segregation is an important step at the source. Otherwise, together collection and getting mixing up, it will create the efforts to be taken towards the separation later on. Whenever you are talking about the disposal of waste, solid waste, in that case, you should remember 3R formula. What is this 3R formula? First R stands for reduce, second R stands for reuse, third R stands for recycle. Reduce means at the source itself, you should work on reduction of solid waste. Reduction of solid waste with example I can give you. Suppose you are using a newspaper for reading purpose. Okay, with one example I can tell all these three parts. What for? Basically we are using newspaper for reading the news and getting know the information about the various aspects. Okay, then if you are if you want to reduce the solid waste, in that case the same paper you can use for the another multiple tasks, wrapping purpose or covering purpose. So for varieties of work you can get it done with the same paper. Then the recycle, if that all this entire works getting done by one single paper, then you can send it to recycle for the same industry as a raw material. Same example you can take the plastic. Okay, first of all you should reduce the use of plastic. You should not go for the plastic until and unless it is required. Okay, because you know that it is a harmful to the environment. Then second thing, reuse it. Reuse in the sense multiple tasks you can get it done. If it is the good quality plastic, you can use it for multiple purposes, packing, wrapping, carrying, everything purpose. And then after complete use, if you are feeling that it is not a reusable material at this stage, then you can send it to recycle to the same industry. Okay, so that way 3R formula must be applied to towards when you are talking about the solid waste management. Okay, then treatment of solid waste, this is the next point we are going to talk into today's lecture. There is incineration, pyrolysis, sanitary landfilling and composting are the different effective treatments can be used for the solid waste. Now which treatment for what type of solid waste, and in that particular treatment what we are going to do, that we will discuss in detail. So once again I will tell you, there are the various treatments of the solid waste, possible treatments, but the most commonly used are the incineration, pyrolysis, sanitary landfilling and composting. So please note down this and then we will discuss the further part. Yes, Kshitija. If you have finished this point, I will explain the further one to one.
Yes, ma'am, finished.
Okay. Incineration. Now we will talk about the incineration first. Incineration means what? It is a closed conduit burning with a very high temperature. In a high temperature, you can burn, even metals also can be burned. Okay, and but specifically incineration can be used for the septic hazardous type of material, means biomedical waste as well as for the hazardous material, toxic material, which are going to damage seriously for the environment. In that case, we can go for the incineration because it is a complete burning. And biggest advantage, it is a incineration is being performed in presence of oxygen. Higher temperature can be, it can be raised to the highest temperature, and then the this will be another issue with this. Another biggest advantage of this is a volume reduction. Around 80%, 90% volume will be getting reduced. Because with respect to solid waste, we have discussed that 0.3 to 0.6 kg per capita per day solid waste generation rate is there. And if this much speed of generation rate is there, you can imagine, yesterday as I told you, the Modi ji कहते हैं ना कि 125 करोड़ का देश है मेरा, और उसके साथ वो 12 months you can, so 365 days you can multiply. So in a 1 year or 2 year, if you are not performing at all any activity to dispose that properly solid waste, entire India will get covered with the solid waste itself. So to avoid that, means this scenario, I'm trying to make you clear that how it is going to be affected that way. Okay, so that's why we need to control it properly. Every citizen must apply the 3R formula. Then incineration is one of the way for the particular type of solid waste disposal, and that is for biomedical waste or the hazardous waste, because it is a costlier method, heavier method, then not that much economical method. Then one more thing, that area is required, large supervision, skilled supervision is required. So that's why we can use this method for the specific purposes. So we'll go with this slide. Incineration is a waste treatment process that involves the combustion of organic substances contained in the waste material. Incineration and other high temperature waste treatment systems are described as thermal treatment because high temperature. Incineration of waste material converts the waste into ash, flue gas, etc. Okay. Burning trash releases dioxins, lead, and mercury heat. Okay. So after burning, after incineration process, it is going to be release the dioxins, lead, and the mercury as well as heat. Okay. So you can look at this figure. You can see this is a panel provided to collect this solid waste. So waste feed is can be provided through this way, and it can forward. There may be the belt system, there may be pushing system. Through that, you can push the solid waste in a particular chamber. So this is a chamber, incineration chamber, you can say. Okay, and at this bottom, here you can see grates are provided. So these are the grating, that metal gratings will be provided. And above that, you are putting the solid waste. Likewise, you can see here, these are the solid wastes. Now combustion air is allowed to get inlet here. This in presence of oxygen, this is going to be performed. And the burnel is provided for the burning purpose, and means flame and air both will come here, and they will burn here. This material will raise temperature with a higher, and then it is releasing a heat and releasing the gases and releasing the ash particles. Heat can be absorbed and converted into energy form, gases needs to be allowed to escape into the atmosphere with the help of stack or the chimney, you can say, because these are the polluted gases. And at the bottom, the ash will be collected at the bottom. This is a highly volume reduction, and this ash you can use as a filler for the agricultural area. Okay, so this way you can get done the burning of the material, burning of solid waste by using the method of incineration. Okay, this is a incineration. So bricks or the RCC structure you can construct that under the ground or above the ground, and this kind of functioning you can be allowed to get done. Usually it is constructed above the ground. Okay, so draw this figure roughly, please. This is an incineration. Remember that word, incineration. Thermal method. For MCQ type of question, incineration is one of the thermal method. It can be used for degradable, non-degradable, both type of waste. But exclusively, if you want to go for the incineration, it should be used for the collection of, for the disposal of hazardous waste and the biomedical waste. Because another methods will allow to have the septic and the spreading of diseases through the septic nature. But this will not. This is going to be burn entire things. So please draw this figure roughly and write down the heading to this figure as a incineration. Once you finish, let me know. So with this figure, I think you understood this is made for the burning of septic and hazardous waste especially. Okay. One sec, guys. Oh my God. Okay, incineration plants are also known as waste to energy plants, WTE. It is also known as the waste to energy plants. The plant, the heat from the combustion generate superheated steam in boilers, and steam drives turbo generators to produce electricity. After incineration, the waste is reduced to ash, which is about 10% of its original volume. Okay, it is about 10% of its original volume. That is the greater achievement of this type of technology used for the disposal of solid waste. The principal products of the waste incineration are carbon dioxide and water vapor, as for almost all other combustion processes, because the major process occurring is oxidation of the carbon and hydrogen in the waste. Okay, so bottom lines, once again, I will give you a recall to this of incineration. Incineration is a thermal treatment process. It can be used for the specifically biomedical waste and the hazardous waste. It is in this process is burning. This burning is performed in presence of oxygen. Okay, means in presence of this is a combustion. Okay, this combustion is being performed in presence of oxygen. Then a reduction of volume up to 10% of its original form, and emission of odorable gases needs to be cleared or passed out through the stack or the chimney, and then heat generation can be accumulated and converted into useful form. Okay, so this is about the incineration. Now another technology we are going to talk is the pyrolysis. Okay, pyrolysis is a process of chemically decomposing organic materials at elevated temperature in the absence of oxygen. This process, this is also one kind of burning, but it is in the absence of oxygen. So very simple or very common example I can give you to explain, to understand the concept of pyrolysis is the preparation of rice in a pressure cooker. Are you getting? Preparation of rice in a pressure cooker. How come? Because Here we are not allowing to have the direct burning. In incineration, there is a direct burning. But in a pyrolysis, there is a no direct burning. It is an indirect burning. So in a pressure cooker, whether do we allow that rice particle to get connected with the particular that flame? No. There is a pot known as cooker. In that particular pot, there will be a sub pot, and in that we are putting the rice for boiling, cooking purpose. And directly we are not giving heat to that particular pot. We are creating a heat inside that particular chamber, that cooker, inside the cooker. We are creating a heat by generating the vapors of the water provided at the bottom of that particular pot. Okay, and it is creating a heat, and that heat is making that rice to get boiled or that get cooked. So indirect burning, it is known as the indirect burning. And because there is no flame contact between flame and that particular particles of the rice, there is a indirect burning. And indirect burning not required the oxygen. So this process is being performed in absence of oxygen. Okay. Pyrolysis is a process of chemically decomposing organic materials at elevated temperature in the absence of oxygen. The process of typically occurs at temperatures above 430 degrees Celsius. In incineration, it can be raised above 1000 degrees Celsius. But here in a pyrolysis, it can be raised above the 430 degrees Celsius, and that is under the pressure. Is it in a pressure cooker? Best example I had given to you to understand the pyrolysis process. It simultaneously involves the change of physical phase and chemical composition, and in the process is an irreversible process. Simply, I will tell you, it is a pressure cooker is the example. Okay, what we want to do, we want to burn the rice. So we are using the cooker, and there we are generating pressure. So there is no direct contact between the flame and the product which we want to burn. And what for pyrolysis? So I am giving the pyrolysis example as a pressure cooker, but there we are not performing the process till the end. Means say our requirement is to prepare, to cook, to prepare the food. Okay, but pyrolysis, in a pyrolysis, there is a preparation of activated charcoal, complete burning. But because it is in absence of oxygen, that charcoal will be the activated charcoal. And what is the use of activated charcoal? Do you know, guys? Anybody? Does anybody knows that? What is the use of activated charcoal? This is
no, ma'am. There is a one ad on TV that we know.
Yes, excellent. Good. That I was expecting this answer. Huh? Advertise regarding activated charcoal. Which advertise?
Ponds.
Dishwash. Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Anybody else? Have you observed this advertise? What is explained in that advertise? They are claiming that your face, whatever the dust particles, impurities placed on your face are getting adsorbed. I am using D. adsorbed. Adsorption is a property of activated charcoal. And if you put the activated charcoal in a liquid also, it will adsorb the impurities into that. Okay, so that way in face wash also they are claiming that they have used the activated charcoal in a powder form, and that's why it is adsorbing the impurities placed in your pores, placed in your skin's pores. They are adsorbing. Okay, so that way for the preparation of activated charcoal means pyrolysis we are using for the disposal of solid waste, and solid waste is one of the non-required part. If we are applying this technology, this is going to be converted into useful product, and that is the adsorption, that is for the adsorption of impurity from the liquid, as well as means it adsorption is a surface phenomena and absorption is the different. It is not absorbing, it is adsorbing. So when you are putting a pot, I will show you the figure. We will go to the figure. Pyrolysis is the process of heating organic material at a high temperature in the absence of oxygen. Since no oxygen is present, the organic material does not combust. It is not getting combust. Combustionचा अर्थ काय होतं की जळून राख होते, बरोबर आहे की नाही. एखादा कागद जर तुम्ही दिव्यावर धरला तर तो काय होतं की जळून त्याची राख तयार होती. पण तो जर कागद तुम्ही प्रेशर कुकर मध्ये ठेवून बघा आणि राहू दे चालू फ्लेम बराच वेळ, त्याचं काय होईल, इट विल नॉट गेटिंग कन्वर्ट इनटू ऍश, असं तो करंज होत 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 असा प्रोडक्ट तयार होतो, बरोबर आहे. सो इन्स्टेड द केमिकल कंपाउंड्स and that make up the material decompose into combustible gases and charcoal. So that is going to be converted into a activated charcoal, and activated charcoal we can use it for the another purposes. Okay, what is the another important purpose we can use it? That is for the removal of impurities from the liquid. So the product of biomass pyrolysis include biochar, bio oil, gases including methane, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and carbon monoxide. Okay, so these are the products we can get from the process of pyrolysis. So look at this figure. You can see here this red color, dark red color is showing that it is a combustor. Combustor in the sense here heat is going to be generated. Here heat is going to be generated. So solid waste directly entered into the inner chamber, not allowed to enter into the outer chamber. Air inlet is provided into the outer chamber because we want to have the flame outside, not in the inside. Okay, so here that will be directly placed over here, and this heat, generated heat, will convert that product, this waste, into a charcoal, or that can be removed from the bottom side. And this pyrolysis reactor produces the raw gases during the combustion process, during the pyrolysis process, and that can be removed from the top. Usually these are the methane, carbon dioxide, and carbon monoxide. Methane you can use as a energy source, then activated charcoal you can use as a for the purification process. That way the waste material you are converting into multiple reusable materials. Okay, this way, this is about the activated charcoal, this is about the pyrolysis process. So try to draw this rough figure, please. Vidya and Snehal replied that it is over. I assume that others, oh my God, this figure is different. Are you sketching the same figure? Or you are not sketching? When did it was changed from my side? Shit. Have you drawn this figure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Here process is shown in short. The preparation for pyrolysis, combustion chamber, air pipe, ash pipe for removal of ash particles, pyrolysis reactor. Then the gases can be collected to cyclotron, and then charcoal will be collected at the bottom. This is a little complicated process. I'm not understanding. Quencher. I have added that figure, but I'm not properly able to explain that. I will understand and I will explain in the next lecture this figure. In general, the pyrolysis of organic substances produces the volatile products and leaves a solid residue enriched in carbon char. Okay, char is the charcoal. The process is used heavily in the chemical industry, for example, to produce ethylene, many forms of carbon and other chemicals from petroleum, coal, and even wood to produce coke from the coal. Okay, so these are the multiple types of products can be developed from the process of pyrolysis. So effective one method disposal of solid waste. Okay, the primary disadvantage of pyrolysis, what are the disadvantages? The product stream is more complex than for many of the alternative treatments. Okay, म्हणजे कम्प्लिटली ते क्लोज कंडिटच असलं पाहिजे, त्याचा मेंटेनन्स थोडासा अवघड आहे, कारण तो देर आर टू चेंबर्स, इनर चेंबर, आउटर चेंबर, and then it becomes a little critical. The product gases cannot be vented directly in the cabin without further treatment because the high amount of CO concentration, because it is an incomplete combustion. It is not the complete combustion. If it is the complete combustion, then there will be the emission of carbon dioxide. But if there is no sufficient oxygen during the burning, then there is a incomplete combustion. So here completely absence of oxygen. So there is a production of carbon monoxide in the atmosphere. Then carbon monoxide is more dangerous than the carbon dioxide. You should know that, guys. Actually, carbon dioxide is not being identified as a pollutant since long time. But nowadays, due to the mismatching of ratio of population to the forest, there is a gap between consumption of carbon dioxide, and hence it is being identified as a pollutant, one of the pollutant. That details we are going to study in the next chapter, that is air pollution. But carbon monoxide is initially itself it is a pollutant. Very dangerous. One of the characteristic of carbon monoxide, I would like to tell you that it reacts with the hemoglobin present into the blood and stop oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. That is one of the dangerous effect of the carbon monoxide. So likewise, many such effects are there. And that's why carbon monoxide is one of the dangerous air pollutant, and that is going to be produced during the process of pyrolysis, because that process is being performed in absence of oxygen. There is no complete burning. It is an incomplete burning kind of issue. Incineration is an exothermic process, while pyrolysis is an endothermic process, which needs to absorb large amount of heat, while the end product of pyrolysis are fuel, oil, and fuel gas, which are convenient for storage and long distance transportation as a heat source. Okay, बऱ्याचदा आपण बघतो बघा, कोळशाच्या गाड्या जातात from कोळसा. That कोळसा, that is not only we are using for the as adsorbent purpose, that we can also use as a energy source. Okay, burning purpose. So these are the different. This is the difference between incineration and pyrolysis method. Okay, any question about incineration and pyrolysis? क्वेश्चन विचारत नसाल तर तुम्हाला काही कळत नाही असा पण अर्थ होऊ शकतो, किंवा तुम्ही काय ऐकत नाही असा पण अर्थ होऊ शकतो. खूप इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक आहे दोन्ही पण, इन्सिनरेशन आणि पॅरालिसिस, आणि त्याच्यावर जरी पण तुम्हाला क्वेश्चन नसेल तर तुम्ही ऐकतच नाही. I will take 1 minute break. No question, no doubt. Okay, we'll proceed. Okay, next treatment method we are going to talk is the sanitary landfilling, or it is a open dumping. Okay, sanitary landfills are the sites. Sanitary landfills, background I will give you before start the process of landfilling. You know that whatever solid waste we collect, we have a habit to either dispose beside the area or burn it simply. Okay, if it is burning, it is producing the air pollution. If it is thrown away, and in that, if it is decomposable material, and if you are not providing a controlled system for decomposition, then also it is going to be get decomposed. असं कधी बघितलंय का आपण खराब झालेली भाजी ते डिकम्पोजर मध्ये किंवा बायोगॅस मध्ये किंवा लँडफिल मध्ये नेऊन नाही टाकली तर ती डिकम्पोज होत नाही होत. We can throw anywhere. Okay, so that at that place also it is getting decomposed, and if it is getting decomposed, it is allowing to have the breeding of mosquitoes, flies, bacteria, microorganisms which are harmful to the environment. Okay, so that's why it should be a controlled system, either burning, either landfilling, either any kind of disposal. Okay, in respect of landfilling we are going to talk. You may be aware, or you might have observed, because we all are from the rural area. So in the rural area, or those who are living in a Pandharpur city, they may not be knowing, but it is possible, quite possible. So what we do with respect to solid waste generating from the house, or whatever activities going on in the residential area, we collect that and we throw it at one of the place in nearby area. And because it is a decomposable material, it starts decomposing and starts escaping the odorable gases. Okay, so odorable gases harms the environment, first thing. Second thing, some of those gases releasing during the decomposition process are usually methane, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and hydrogen sulfide. So all these are contributing for the air pollution. All these are contributing for the global warming. All these are contributing for the ozone depletion. Okay, so that's why this should be controlled. First thing. Second thing, they are producing the unhygienic environment by allowing to spread the mosquitoes, bacteria, microorganisms, flies. Is it? So it should be done in a controlled manner. Okay, so this is the practice to collect the waste and put it into open dump area. Indian practice, we can say. But after that, when it was came to the notice that there are the huge problems with respect to this kind of activities, then the concept of land filling is came into picture. Now in the land filling, we can excavate the land, or if naturally excavated land is available, in that we are putting the solid waste and it is getting covered up. But again, we start observing that we are covering from the surface, and from that activity, that phenomena helping us to have the growth of microorganisms, growth of bacteria, growth of flies, but it is not controlling from the emission of odorable gases. One thing. Second thing, whatever the decomposition is getting done, during decomposition, as I told you in the yesterday's lecture, whenever organic materials decomposition performs, at that time there is a production of small quantity of liquid waste, and that liquid waste is known as the leachate. L-E-C-H-A-T-E, leachate. Okay, so that leachate is highly rich with a carbon dioxide, COD, chemical oxygen demand. So it's a very dangerous, and that is going to be affect on the groundwater table. Okay, so these are the all aspects creating a pollutant in a simple landfilling method, and that's why some research has performed and the sanitary landfilling is came into picture. So there are many such evidences or the cases through there are the accidents happens through the landfill. We used to say that case studies. So one of the case study in New Zealand, there was one colony. That colony name was the Low Canal Colony. But after what happened actually, when it was constructed, it was very pretty good, and then lavish look, like everything was outstanding. But what happened after some time, there's in that area bumping starts, the land bumping starts, because it was constructed on the landfilled area. Landfilled area in the sense, in that area the solid waste was dumped, pressurized and covered with a proper layer of soil, and then there was a construction of such houses over there. But what happened after a few days, the decomposition started in the land, and then during the decomposition there is a production of gases, and the gases needs to come, their tendency is to come upward direction. So that was starts bumping out, and then that Low Canal Colony has been converted into Ghost Canal immediately after some few more years. So this issue was also identified in respect of landfill, and then all these aspects came into the picture and taken into consideration for the construction of sanitary landfill. And what is the sanitary landfill features? I will show you with the figure. First, I will show you figure, and then we'll come back to this. So you can look at this figure. You can look at this figure. There are many cell-like cells are converted. Means, first of all, solid waste. This brown color, ash color is for the solid waste. Then covered with the soil, compressed it with applying pressure, and again there will be another cell of solid waste, again covered with the soil, again compressed by applying pressure. Likewise, such a multiple layers can be formed until it is reaching to the ground. It is a subsurface level process. So until it is reaching to the ground, there will be multiple layers can be formed, alternate layers of solid waste and soil. And every time it will be compressed by applying the pressure. Okay, so compression is for the volume reduction. Okay, then I will go back to this another figure. So here you can see in this, okay, the cell formation is not shown here, but it is like this. So you can look at this figure here, collected leachate. So slope is given to one side of that particular chamber, particular pit, and because slope will help to collect the liquid waste generating during the decomposition, that is leachate, towards that end. And from that, it can be pumped out. So instead of allowing to percolate towards the ground, it will be collected from that spot directly by providing the pumping system. Also, if at all it is provided at the one corner, but because of that, how it is going to be collected at this corner? Because we have provided slope. Is this only reason? No, because we have restricted to percolate towards the ground by providing the plastic liner from the inner side into this particular pit. Okay, so this will not be allowed to percolate towards the ground. This plastic liner will restrict that. Then another issue, there is an emission of gases, production of gases are there. Okay, so these multiple pipes provided for the emission of gases producing at during the decomposition, and this can be collected and recovery of the same gas can be performed by processing the further activities on that. Okay, so this way sanitary landfill helps to reduce the volume of solid waste, first thing. Second thing, it will help to reduce the it is not going to help only for the reduction of volume, also it will not allow to percolate the odorable gases into the atmosphere, not allowed to percolate the leachate into the groundwater table, and the process of decomposition will be performed effectively. Okay, so let me अरे बाबा हे काय कन्वर्ट मध्ये कशात झालं? This is anatomy of landfill. Okay, we'll go with the slide. Sanitary landfills are sites where waste is isolated from the environment until it is safe. It is considered when it has completely degraded biologically, chemically, and physically. In high-income countries, the level of isolation achieved may be very high. Sanitary landfill work by layering waste and soil in a large hole in the ground that is lined with plastic and clay from the bottom side. The waste is allowed to decompose and the linings help to prevent the contamination of water as well as air. When landfills are full, they are often capped and transformed into parks or the natural areas. Okay, one dumps do not regulate what goes into their dumps. Chemicals and other liquids are able to run to the groundwater. Okay, sanitary landfills are disposal sites for non-hazardous solid waste. Remember this one. Sanitary landfills are disposal sites for the non-hazardous solid waste, not for the hazardous solid waste. For hazardous, we can go for the incineration, that is spread in layers and compacted to the smallest particle volume. Okay, this is the figure. These are the figure. A secure hazardous waste landfill must have two impermeable liners and leachate collection systems. What are these two impermeable liners? One is the plastic liner and another is the clay liner. Plastic with the clay together will help as a double liner. Sanitary landfills are sites where waste is isolated from environment until it is safe. It is considered when it has completely degraded biological, chemical, and physically. The main purpose of sanitary landfill is to ensure waste is safe by reducing the harm from accumulated waste and allowing safe decomposition. Alternating layer of the garbage and soil aids in hastening the decomposition process effectively. These are sanitary landfills are less hazardous to the environment. Open dams are very hazardous to the environment because it is allowing to percolate the soil liquid in the ground. It is allowing to escape the odorable gases. It is allowing to have the growth of mosquitoes, flies, then bacteria, microorganisms, etc. The whole process is carefully monitored, thus preventing foul odor. As a result, pests are avoided. Okay, there will be no growth of pests if it is controlled system. Okay, so this is about the landfill. I request everybody to draw this figure. Please fast. Done?
No, ma'am. 1 second, please.
Okay, okay, wait. I will wait. No problem.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. And the last technology is the composting. Okay, composting. We are used to with this treatment actually. Popular technology actually it is. Composting is the biological decomposition of organic waste. Again, decomposition. Decomposable material can be disposed by using the composting technology. Okay, it is a decomposition of organic waste such as food or plant material by bacteria, fungi, worms, and other organisms under controlled aerobic conditions. Okay, it should be under the controlled aerobic condition. It is not the, it can be anaerobic also. The end results of the composting is an accumulation of partially decayed organic matter called the humus, and that can be used as a manure for the agricultural area. Processing of composting requires making a heap of wet organic, also called as green waste, heap of wet organic matter such as leaves, grass, food scrap, and waiting for the material to break down into humus after a period of months. Sometimes it requires 4 months, 3 months, 6 months, which technology in a composting you are using, accordingly the period will change. Okay, so you can see the trenching can be done like this, and in that trenching usually vegetable waste or the agricultural waste can be dumped, and it can be covered for some time, and then after some time there will be a turning and then spreading of some chemicals for the control of pests like this, and to increase the rate of decomposition also. Okay, so look at this, it will look like this. At a very small place you can take the small trenches, and in that trenches you can put this material. So after 4 months, 3 months, it will be converted into a humus, and that you can use as a manure for the plants. Okay, so these experiments you can perform at your own house also. What is composting? The rapid biological decomposition of organic matter into an inorganic form available for plant uptake. Note down this, please. The rapid biological decomposition of organic matter into inorganic form available for plant uptake as a manure. Okay, so microorganisms turning organic matter into plant food, and there is a nutrient cycle. Breeding of microorganisms or the worms. If you are not controlled, you are not providing the controlled system for the decomposition, there will be a breeding of microorganisms. Then this is my approach to composting. Our goal is composting to provide microorganisms with the food they need to thrive, and thus rapidly decompose organic materials while retaining the maximum amount of nitrogen in those materials. Okay. So there are the different methods of the compost: Indore method, Bangalore method, Nandip method, and Coimbatore method. So Nandip and Coimbatore method is not that much accepted, but Bangalore method and Indore method is highly accepted. Okay, in Indore method, in this method, Deen Bandhu method, like multiple methods are there, but the commonly one listed over here. This was developed, Indore method was developed by Howard and Y.D. Ward at the Institute of Plant Industry in Indore. Bangalore method was worked out by L.N. Acharya at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, IISc Bangalore. And Nadip method was demonstration of this method at larger scale was initiated at J.N. Krishi Vidyalaya, Indore. And Coimbatore method introduced by Manickam at the Coimbatore in 1967. So this is about the fundamental. In detail, we will see what is the Indore method and what is the Bangalore method too, as these are the two important and popular methods are there. Now, what is the difference? Bangalore method of composting dry waste material of 25 centimeter thick is sprayed in pit. Okay, composting or the dry waste material can be sprayed in a pit, and a thick suspension of cow dung in a water is sprinkled over the moistening. Okay, we can spread that
हॅलो मॅम, तुम्ही म्यूट वर आहात.
Yes, yes. Okay. In the Bangalore method, what we are doing, dry waste material can be spread in a pit with a 25 centimeter thickness of this particular layer. And this can be covered with a cow dung and it can be sprinkled with a water. Why cow dung? Cow dung is acting as a culture for the decomposition of organic material, and watering for converting it to creating the moisture content in that particular. So a thin layer of dry waste is laid over the moistened layer. Once again, you can a layer after layer you can create. The pit is filled alternatively with dry layers of material and cow dung suspension till it rises 0.5 meter above the ground. So first of all, you need to go for the trenching under the ground, put the 25 centimeter layer of the dry waste, cover with the cow dung, then spread some water, again spread the dry waste, again cover it until it is not reaching up to the 0.5 meter above the ground level. You can keep on adding the different layers. Okay, so it is left exposed without covering for 15 days. Cover करायचं नाहीये त्याला, फक्त असंच एक्सपोज करून ठेवायचं. It is given a turning, plastered with wet mud and left undisturbed for 5 months or till required. Do you understood? First part, I think you understood. There is a layers in a excavated trenches. In a trenches, we have made the layers of alternate layers of dry waste and the cow dung. Okay. Then when it is reaching to the 0.5 meter above the ground, keep it aside. Okay. Keep it is for, let it be there for 15 days. Decompose that. No, don't cover it. Don't touch it for 15 days. Then after 15 days, there should be mixing and trenching should be done. Okay. And during that turning period, after complete turning, you should plaster it with a wet mud. Okay. To cover up and left it there for the 5 minutes undisturbed. Okay, let it be there for 5 minutes in an undisturbed form, and then a very great, nutriently rich material will be produced at the end of 5 months. So this will be this is the Bangalore method. Okay, now we'll see here in the Nanded Indore method. In the Indore method of composting, organic waste are sprayed in the cattle shed to serve as bedding. Organic waste are sprayed in the cattle shed to serve as a bedding. Urine soaked material along with guys, I have another meeting at 4:30, so I am getting many calls. So this remaining point we will discuss in the tomorrow's lecture. Okay. Actually this was the last point. I should not be left it there. This is the last point, but still it will be hurry. Instead of explaining properly, it will be a hurry. So I will cover in tomorrow's lecture. Okay. So with this note, I will take your attendance and then I will ask you to leave the class.
Recording in progress.
Okay, guys, I have taken your attendance. You can leave the meeting. We'll meet tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, I don't know, morning or afternoon. Okay, thank you.